For all this cool equipment and awesome weaponry, Master Chief needs a sweet ride. All your old favorites are back, but the cool new addition is the Brute Chopper. Imagine if the Fonz were a brute. This is the kind of bike that he would ride, and let me tell you right now, the chicks dig the Brute Chopper. That Cortana, she loves greasers. And you're going to love the Brute Chopper because this thing tears everything else up. It's probably the best vehicle in the entire game. The real meat of Halo 3 is the multiplayer. In fact, the campaign is sort of a side attraction compared to the depth that you're going to get playing with other people online. So there are 11 maps this time in Halo 3, and they're all actually pretty good. Maybe Construct will not be a favorite for everybody, but the rest of the maps are great. There's Sandtrap, which is this really cool big open desert map where you're actually going to get to ride in these elephants, which are just giant troop carriers. There's Isolation, which is a nice two-tone map where on the top it's all grassy and serene, and down below it's gritty and dirty tunnels with these bunkers that have these little gun slots that if you're really talented you can throw a grenade through. And there are several maps that are going to be awesome simply because they feature the man cannon. Those are maps such as Valhalla and Narrows, where you're going to get to see people launch themselves with these man cannons flying through the air, and if you're really cool, you're going to be able to snipe somebody while you're flying through the air, and if you're one of those guys who gets owned all the time in Halo, you're going to be the one getting shot while you're flying. The matchmaking features that Bungie had implemented for Halo 2 are pretty much the same stuff that you're going to see in Halo 3. They worked pretty well, but there are more varieties to the game modes, and one of the modes that they've added is called Infection, which I think people are just going to have a blast with. This is a game type that simulates a zombie movie in the Halo universe. So one guy starts off as a zombie and all he has is an energy sword. And his goal is just to kill everybody else. And once you get killed by the zombie, you become a zombie, you get a sword, and all you can do is just run around trying to stab people. And it really gets to that point where there's one or two people left and they're just going for the high ground and they're just trying to stay alive. And honestly, it feels like you're playing Night of the Living Dead. The real customization is going to come with the Forge, which is just this awesome in-depth level editor. You can go into any of the 11 maps that are already in Halo and change them around. So you can turn into a monitor, which is, what Guilty Sparks is, fly around, pick up any object in the environment, move it where you like, remove it from the game, and then you have a buy system that sort of works like Counter-Strike, where you have money to spend and you can drop weapons, equipment, power-ups, teleporters, choose where you want them to be, choose how you want them to face, and you can save that and just make your own game maps to go along with your game types. At the same time though, you can actually have battles going on in the Forge so that you have people messing around with the Forge all the time, so that as one guy's shooting you, another guy turns into the monitor and he just drops a mongoose down so the guy can hop in it and get away quickly. Or if you're playing with your buddy, he can be like, hey, rocket launcher. You can just buy the rocket launcher, drop it in front of him, he picks it up, and you're fighting in tandem. And what's really amazing about the Forge and these new game types is that you don't have to be doing the standard shooter stuff where you just go around killing each other. We got into a game in Valhalla and decided, let's just play home run derby. So we got on these two mounds, dropped a few gravity hammers and a few rocket launchers, and just sat there and tried to hit home runs. And the timing's really hard, but man, when you hit a dinger out of the park in Valhalla, it's a pretty great feeling. On a more personal level, you can also customize the way that your character looks a lot more than you could in Halo 1 or Halo 2. The more multiplayer you play, the more stuff you're going to unlock, and you're going to be able to change the helmets on your characters, you're going to be able to change the way the armor looks on the left arm, the right arm, and of course you can go through and look at all the different colors that you want for your armor. You can create a whole bunch of different symbols that you can use, so you can make yourself look like a real individual out there. And it just gives a little bit more incentive to keep playing through the multiplayer. You might have noticed while watching this video review that we've been able to detach the camera from Master Chief's first-person view, swing it around, pause the game, look at these awesome explosions, and really show just the beauty of the special effects that are in Halo 3 and just the amount of detail in the environments. The thing is, you can do this too with the replay editor. The replay editor automatically saves anytime you play a game, whether you're playing campaign, co-op, multiplayer. It's going to save that as a temporary file, and these files are only a few megabytes big because it's just 3D game data that basically is being reproduced when you do the replay. And at any time you can stop the replay, go wherever you want to on the map, just kind of check stuff out, see what things are doing, and you'll actually still get the sound effects in the game, so you can get a real appreciation for what it's like when you run through fire in this game or are near an explosion. You can hear the crackle on a vehicle as it's about to blow up. Then you can record your camera movements and actually create your own cinematic clips which you can upload for other people to view. And while they can watch what you've done, they can also just stop at any time and, press the Y button, detach the camera, and go do what they like and see what they want to see. After listening to all the wonderful things that Halo 3 has to offer, you may be wondering why this game doesn't score a perfect 10. And unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, but the main reason why this game is not a perfect 10 is because of the campaign mode. Though they fixed some of the problems with backtracking, Bungie still has a lot of moments where you're going to be going back through levels for no real reason. Also, the AI of your teammates just isn't that great. When you're playing single player, you'll have the Arbiter often as your co-op buddy just sort of being run by the AI. He's an asstard. He'll just be staring at walls sometimes, he won't shoot, he dies a lot. I'll tell you what, those Covenant guys, they like to get shot in the face quite often. He'll be dead most of the time. He's really pretty much useless, and there's no point in having an AI-controlled character with an arrow over him letting you know he's your AI buddy, unless he's actually going to be competent. This is like playing with your 4-year-old sister who's blind. My other issue is actually with the story. Yes, you do finish the fight, and yes, you really get to feel like Master Chief is saving the day once again. But Bungie actually raised a lot of interesting points and some interesting issues with the Elite and sort of that religious battle that was going on within them, and that's completely abandoned. While I don't want to be playing as the Arbiter through half the game, at the same time, I don't want that storyline to be completely dropped, and it really feels like that's what's happened. So if you look at the story arc from Halo 1 through 2 through 3, it just doesn't match up anymore because it changed so much in 2 and then it drops right back to sort of the same story type that it was in Halo 1, and it's a little bit disconcerting and I think a little bit of a disservice for people who, well, maybe they didn't like being the Arbiter so much, still wanted to finish out that storyline and sort of the story of who the Arbiter was, and you don't get that satisfaction out of Halo 3. But what it really boils down to is just that the campaign isn't as fun as it was in Halo 1. And that's the ultimate thing. You want the game to be just as fun as it always was. It's a real joy to play with 4 players online. That's a blast. Even if it's really easy, it's just great to be with your buddies playing the game, because Halo's always been about the community and being with your friends and having a beer. But at the same time, I still want that challenge in single player and that satisfaction. I want every level to be great, and the second to last level in Halo 3 is terrible, and everybody who's played it that I know of has said, yeah, this level is bad, and I have a feeling even the people at Bungie know that they're going to get a lot of flack for that level, and that's not acceptable. When you only have 9 levels and one of them's not good, that's bad game design. And ultimately, that's one of the things that holds Halo back from being a perfect 10. Everything else is incredible. I mean, really, if you take out the campaign, this game is an 11 out of 10. The Forge is really fantastic. The replay editor is just incredible. You can literally just sit around watching replays all day long and never even bother playing the game anymore. And then you have this multiplayer, which is the best multiplayer on Xbox 360 and really the best multiplayer on any system out there. You know, we spent enough time talking about Halo 3. It's about time you just went out and finished the fight. Buy it now. If you own a 360, you should get Halo 3. And if you don't own a 360, buy a 360 and buy Halo 3.